All right, what's going on, everyone? Hello, 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 hello. We're back in action. Rex in effects of the Rex of Recca. You guys don't remember that. So we're going to do a quick training really fast. One of the action items for the boot camp that we're doing today was to figure out what we want, what we want, what we want. It really is the alpha and omega. It's where everything begins and ends. Without knowing that, then there's no point necessarily of doing anything. We're just going to be like robots, just meandering around the wilderness hoping to reach the promised land, and it ain't ever going to happen because we don't know what we want. Things are going to be things are going to get too challenging. Life is going to happen, all those sorts of things. And unless you're really convicted and really focused on what you want to create, it's just not going to happen. I don't care if we're talking about happiness. I don't care if we're talking about joy. I don't care if we're talking about a successful marriage. I don't care if we're talking about becoming financially independent or financially free. I don't care if we're talking about building a health coaching business or practice. I don't care if we're talking about driving our kids to school. Like, we have to know what we want, and if we're not really connected to it, then we're not going to accomplish much, because it's much easier to stay in complacency than it is to push past the difficulties that are going to come without actually knowing what you want. Just think about your clients right now. The ones that do not have a strong why, the ones that come to you and say, well, I have, I don't really even know why I'm starting. Or they say something like, we're going to Cabo in a couple weeks, and so I want to lose some weight. That's a very, very weak, myopic why. I mean, those are not strong reasons. Even if they do reach their goals, they're not going to be able to stay there. They're going to, go back to where they were, because it's a really weak why. And so same thing happens as we're working on our business. So anyway, I could talk about that forever, but I'm going to show you guys how I kind of go out there and figure out what I want and how I piece it all together, and how you can do the same. So today we're going to be talking a lot about what we call structural tension charts. So structural tension charts is something that we can first and foremost use for ourselves, and that we certainly can use with our clients and our coaches. And here's a hint: if we're not using it with our clients and coaches, it's going to be very, very challenging to have any sort of growth at all, especially if we're thinking about building this business. So you think about working with coaches, they are going to run into a lot of stuff. And they're just going to, they're coaches are funny, man. We're going to go into how delusional people are. But one of the things that's going to happen is they're going to start running into some issues, and they're going to start to make up reasoning as to why they can't do certain things. So one of the ways we can help them, I'm probably getting too deep into it. Let me just show you how to actually set some goals and reach them. And I'm getting into stuff that we don't need for this sort of training. So which one of these is actually it? Hold on. You guys excuse me for a second while I just bring this up really fast. Got it. Okay. So first thing first, let me just take you through these things really fast, and then I'll come back to it so that you can see. I want to finish this in like a half an hour too, so I don't have you guys on here all day. All right, so setting goals using structural tension. So the definition of structural tension is the structure in the relationship. That's what we call the tension. And structure is a relationship between the natural state, what we call our current reality, and the desired state. So by the time we're done with this, you'll know what that means. Essentially, structural tension is a way to reach any sort of goal that you want in life once we start to understand how to do it. The structural tension only exists if we're honest with ourselves about our current reality, what we want, and the steps we are willing to take to get there. Willing is a very important word within that sentence. So I would write that down. I'd circle it about 23 times because it is a choice. So structural tension isn't about you. And I think this is where a lot of people go wrong when they are creating their goals, when they're creating structure. Most people do things based off of emotion and based off of want to. It's going to be very, very hard to reach certain goals if we're working off of emotion. So it's not about you. It doesn't matter how you feel or what you think about yourself, as well outlined here. So without having the truth, then we cannot establish structural tension. So propaganda, hopium, meaning I hope for things to happen, pumping myself up, positive self-talk and hype are not reality. In a creative process, what you think about yourself is not relevant. And this is where you hear me talk about structure versus emotion. It doesn't matter if you're tired, if you're hurt, if you're sore, if there's something crazy that pops up in your life. That is all based off of, comes down to emotion, and that's not how we reach goals. So in a creative process, what you believe is not even important. For example, you could have a client that starts right now and they don't believe that they're going to lose any weight. However, if they engage in structure, which is eating 5 of our fuelings a day, plus a lean and green that's to scale, plus drinking some water, they don't have to believe that they'll actually lose 30 or 40 pounds. All they have to do is operate within structure, and it's going to happen anyway. Does that make sense? Same thing with us in our businesses. You don't actually have to believe in yourself and that you are going to reach presidential director. You don't even have to believe that. All you have to do is work within structure, which is our very simple systems, do that over and over again every single day. And at some point in time in the future, we are going to reach a goal called presidential director. So it's only about what you want to create and the action behind it, action versus emotion. So we always start off in our current reality. Where am I at right now? And we always focus on where I want to go. In between there is just action steps. For this gentleman here, his action steps are these stairs. He's just got to put one foot in front of the other and lift up his legs and walk up the stairs. Eventually, he's going to get to where he wants to go. But it has nothing to do about him feeling tired or a boss yelling at him or a spouse not supporting him or none of that stuff. All he's got to keep doing is moving. And the way that he does that is he stays highly focused on what he wants to create. So the truth versus what's real, we don't even need to get into this right now. But what we do need to know is the 11th commandment, which is thou shalt not kid thyself. We have to stop lying to ourselves as to why we're not where we want to be and actually start to have some truthful conversations about why our current reality is still the way that it is. Whether we're talking about our healthy bodies, mind, finances, relationships, spirituality, it doesn't matter. We have to be honest with ourselves in order to move forward. So structural tension is the best way to create anything, your health, your next goal or rank within your business, your family, or just your livelihood. So we don't need to get into that. We don't need to get into that either, but I wanted to sort of show you what a structural tension chart looks like. So if we ever want to get good with setting goals, then a couple different chapters I would reference for sure. One being chapters 3 and 4 in Dr. A's Habits of Health. And I would certainly, your whole workbook, Living a Longer, Healthier Life, is essentially outlines what structural tension is all about. I don't know if there's one workbook lesson where you cannot find structural tension, a structural tension chart, or the concept of structural tension on how to actually reach your goals, your visions, and your desired outcome. So I'll get into this a little bit more, but I want you guys to see what this looks like, because this is a way to where we can start to get anything that we want. I have helped coaches improve their marriages just by doing the structural tension chart. Like I remember sitting down with several coaches and them saying, well, Jamil, I don't feel like doing it. And I said, it doesn't matter if you feel like it. What do you want? And they would say, well, I want to have a thriving marriage. I want to keep my family together. You know, it's really important for me to have my children grow up in a loving household. And then I would say, okay, well, that sounds like it's a fundamental goal. And I would say, so it doesn't matter that you don't want to be intimate at this time or this day. The only thing that matters is you want to have a thriving, loving relationship. So now we just have to figure out action steps to do in order to create that. And the action steps you may not want to do, but what do you want more? Do you want this loving, fruitful relationship, or do you not want the intimacy? Which one do you want more? I want the loving, fruitful relationship. Great. What do you think you should do? I should be intimate with my husband or my wife. Like that's what I mean. It takes all emotions out of it. It is extremely a practical method of reaching any desired outcome that you want. And so we'll really get into that. So I'll get into that. So one of the best structural tension items that we have is something called a map. Now, admittedly, most coaches are not using this correctly. And they're not using it strategically to help them reach their goals. And so hopefully, I don't think we'll have enough time to jump into it within this training, but hopefully as you dive in and you get on more and more training, especially the executive director boot camps at FIBC, boot camps that we have in the sponsoring boot camps, that you really start to understand how to use the map. If we have enough time, I'll come back to this. And I'll come back to that too. We don't need that stuff right now. What we do need is this. So I'm going to show you guys how to figure out what it is that you want and how you can help your people do the same. So first thing that we do is we could just do this on a blank piece of paper, or we can go back and actually do it on the structural tension chart like this. But if I do it on a blank piece of paper and I'm sitting here, the only thing I do is I'll go back to my early days, and I'll start with my current reality. So when I first started coaching, I had to be really real with myself and tell myself the truth. Where was I at in my life? And you know, as opposed to where I wanted to be. So my current reality was I was on the brink of divorce. I was 30 to 40 pounds overweight. I should make these things bigger so that you guys can see. We'll make it huge. Okay. And don't mind my spelling. This is a great thing about being a business owner. You don't have to be smart scholastically, but you do have to be, you have to have street smart. You have to have leadership. You have to have desire. That's the only thing you need really to grow big businesses. You don't need to know prepositions. You don't even need to know how to spell. You don't need to know what 2 + 2 is. You don't need to know any of that stuff that our school systems try to drum down our throats. You need to have street smarts, desire, and leadership skills. That's the only thing you need to build a really big business. So I was really frustrated. Didn't have time freedom. Didn't feel like my bosses didn't respect me. Tired of renting a house. Want to be home owner. No energy. Fatigued often. Felt embarrassed college graduate, not progressing, medical consultant, not earning the income I wanted, but I was alive. That was good. Okay, so now when I think about what do I want, I have to become crystal clear on this. So when I'm laying down in my bed and I'm thinking, what do I want? How do I want my life to look? What do I actually like? If there was no limitations, if I could do anything, how would I actually like my life to look like? What is the most important things to me? And what, if I could create anything, what would I love to create? So now, and this is exactly what I did. So my first goals were, the most important thing for me was to, even over keeping my marriage, was I want to keep Ezra in my house. I grew up without having a dad present, in and out, and I made promises to myself as a little boy that if I ever had a son, I wouldn't do the same thing. So this was one of the most important things to me. So I had to say now, well, how does that, I'll come back to that. So what else do I want? I want to create a happy life. I want to be able to create my days the way I want. I want to never have to wear a suit again if I don't want to. I want to own my own home. I want to create financial independence. I know I spelled that wrong. How do you spell that word? I want a happy marriage. I want to travel more often. What else did I want back then? Ooh, I want to walk the beach daily. Oh, my biggest want was I want to be stress free. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's just start with those things. Okay, so it's very important to be okay. But now these are just goals, right? There's no specificity, whatever. It's not specific enough. So this is great, but it doesn't mean anything. So I want to keep Ezra in my house. Next thing I'm asking myself, well, why? For every single one of these things, I want to say, why? I want to create a happy life. Okay? Why? I want to be able to create my days the way that I want. Why? Remember, I told you, if we don't have whys for these things, it's just not going to matter. Same thing we want to do with our clients and our coaches. Our client says, I want to look good in a bathing suit. Why? Like, that means nothing to me. What for? What's behind that? I want to never wear a suit again if I don't want. Okay, well, why? So we have to know the whys behind these things. So now I got to get really, really clear. I want to keep Ezra in my house. Well, why? Because I didn't have a father figure, and I cannot stand the idea of another man raising my son. Okay? So when do I want to keep this kid in my house? Now, what is it going to take? Well, I need to figure out how to get along with his mother. I need to establish a better relationship with Amanda. Great. So you could even say, again, well, why? Right? And then go back. But basically, this is how deep we want to get. So I want to create a happy life. Why? When do I want that? Now. What is it going to take? Heck, less stress. What is it going to take to be less stressful? I got to start earning some more money. How much money do you want to earn? I think if I can earn about $18,000 a month, that would take some of my stress away. Great. Okay. When do you want to start earning $18,000 a month, Jamil? If I could do it within a year, that'd be awesome. So that was like July 2012. So by July 2013. Great. Great. All right. So I want to be able to create my days the way that I want. Well, why? What is that going to look like? Well, here. What will that look like? Well, it's going to look like I'm doing yoga every day, walking the beach daily, getting a massage Thursday and Fridays, which I did for about 3 years straight until Amanda came home, ruined everything I had it planned out. Then she came home, said she didn't want to work anymore, and messed up my whole day, man. I couldn't even take naps at 1:30 every day in the afternoon. That was on my structural tension chart, by the way. Then Amanda says, I don't want to teach anymore. I want to come home. I said, you're messing up my whole afternoon, man. I had this thing figured out for like 3 years. So anyway, I want to take massages and do yoga. Okay, well, look, if I want to do that, that's going to cost money. How much will I need to put away monthly for that to happen? Well, I'm going to need about an extra $200 a month. Remember I told you guys, like when coaches come in, they're so scared to say that they actually want to earn more income. Remember, most of what income isn't the number, it's what it represents for you. It's how you can actually start living the way that you want. Truth of the matter is, we live in an economy that's driven economically. I mean, that's just how it is. And so in order for us to start doing the things that we want to do, it's going to take what we call income. So anyways, so I have this, right? So I know I need about an extra $200 a month. I know I'm going to need, I know I want to start earning about $18,000 a month. So whatever, I could just go through these things. So I could go through, I want to own my own home. Why? When? Okay. What does it look like? Where do you want your home to be? See how specific I'm getting? Heck, what color would it be? When do you want to move? Okay. Now let's just say I want to own this home in 2 years from that time. So that was in July 2012. So I say July 2014. Great. How much do you want to put down? Well, I'm not sure. Okay. Well, what sort of where are you going to move to? I'm going to stay in Long Beach. Okay, so do you want a starter home? Yes. Okay, what's that going to be? Maybe $600,000. Okay, so I want a home that's $600,000. Great. How much do I want to put down? Let's just say I'm going to put down 20%. Great. So that means I'm going to need what? I'm going to need 120,000 in 2 years. Great. So I have 24 months to do that. 120 divided by 24 months is what? I'm sure Josh Bomba knows already. About $5,000 a month. Okay? So need $5,000 a month. Now, if I didn't feel comfortable with that, I would just say, well, instead of having this in 2 years, I'll have it in 3 years, right? So if that was the case, then I'll just take the 120 divided by 36 months. And that will equal what? 120 divided by 36. So now I only need $3,000 a month. Okay? So I need that. Great. So I'm just going to go through these things. I want to travel more. Why? When do you want to go? Where? What does it look like? Who you going to take with you? When? Say I'm going to Paris. When do I want to go there? Let's just say July 2014, which gives me 2 years. So let me just put 2 years. How much will it cost? Let me just say $10,000 for the trip. Great. So now I got that. Can divide that by 24 months. 10,000 divided by 24. So I only need $416 a month for that. Great. So there it is. So I'm just going to keep doing that, right? And then what I'm going to do, and what I'm going to help my coaches do, is now I'm just going to add all that up. So I got 416 plus 333 plus 200. Oh man, I messed up. 416 plus 3,333 plus 200. And for now, we'll leave this 18,000 out. But anyway, all I need to do to start to make those things happen is I just got to start earning $3,949 a month with my Optavia business. See how easy that is? So if I'm working with a new coach, guess what I already have? An executive director. See how simple that is? Only thing I need to get good at as a business coach, as a mentor, or if I'm working with myself, is getting good with how to help a coach uncover what the heck they actually really want. This is going to be a scary process for them because they're not taught to do this. They're so used to just going through life without creating anything, but they're like robots, right? That's how I was. And so to do this can be a little bit scary sometimes. So you have to sit down and say, dream with me for a second. Dream with me. And then we have to do this with ourselves too. Now, if we don't do this with ourselves constantly, guess what happens? It's called an oscillating cycle, oscillating pattern. We're either never going to move forward, and so we're going to constantly be frustrated because we're not creating anything, or if we're not constantly setting and creating new goals, then what we are going to do is reach a goal. We're going to get there, we're going to plateau, then we're going to go backwards. We're going to do the same thing you see the majority of your clients do. It's called an oscillating pattern. So here it is. So I know that basically I want to start earning a little under $4,000 a month. Yes, yes, and yes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and I'm going to look at an income disclosure. Can you guys see this? No? You see it? Okay. I'm not getting any head nods or anything, so I'm going to try to make this thing bigger, but I don't think it's going to happen. Hopefully it shows up well in this thing. So anyway, so now I'm just going to go here and I'm going to see, well, where is about $4,000 per month? That looks like maybe I want to be a regional director. So now I've set my intentions on regional director. And if I have a really good support team or business coach, they're going to tell me, forget about that whole regional director thing, because you are going to be what we call a fully integrated business coach, FIBC. There it is. So now I know what I'm working for, right? I know what I'm working towards. I know why it's important to me. I know my fundamental goal is here, which is keeping my son in my house. The way that I'm going to do that is I need to start creating better finances. The way that I'm going to do that is what we're about to talk about next. So what are my action steps going to be every single day? Not when I feel like it, not when it's convenience for me, not when the in-laws don't come into town, not when it's not raining, not when a tsunami doesn't come through, not when my wife or husband's not supporting me, not when a client decides to fall off, not when a coach decides to leave, not when there's a fire in the house, not when my car breaks down. Like, I'm going to do these things every single day. And why am I doing these things every single day? Because what is my fundamental goal? See what I'm saying? Am I going to feel like doing these things every single day? Nope. I guarantee you I'm not. But why am I going to do it? Because I want this more than I want anything else. So these action steps are called our secondary choices or goals. Okay? So what are the action steps that I'm going to do as a brand new coach? Well, first thing I'm going to do, well, I wouldn't even say a brand new coach, but what are some things that I could do every single day? You guys already know the answer to this. First thing is I'm going to know, become a master at knowing my 1 to 2 minute story. Okay? So when am I going to do this by? When? I'm going to become an expert with this by next Monday. So that is going to be like February 5th. Great. What else am I going to do? I'm actually going to establish a 100s list. So create 100s contact list. When am I going to have this done by? I'm going to have this done by tonight. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to do these things because I'm creating structure, not going off of emotions. What else am I going to do? I'm actually going to do this thing that I've been hearing people talk about, which is the 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 by 5. I might even do more, considering doing more. And listen to me, once I say this, if I have a good business coach and they go back up here and they say, do you really want to earn $18,000 a month by next year? And I say, yeah. And they're going to say, well, can I give you a suggestion? Yes. Doing these things to 5 people a day is not going to help you reach that goal. I mean, you can reach that goal, but it's going to take a hell of a lot longer than a year to do. So if your goal really is earning $18,000 by next year, you're going to want to spruce that up to a 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 by 10. Great. Daily. Okay. What else am I going to do? Well, I'm going to maybe create a healthy, happy hour. When am I going to do that? I'm going to do that a week from today, which is 2/5. Great. What else am I going to do? I'm going to actually lead with my health. Eating 6 times per day, drinking 100 ounces of water. Great. What else am I going to do? I'm going to attend every boot camp. Great. And what else am I going to do? Check in with Mentor daily to see if I'm on track. Awesome. There it is. So now my structural tension chart is done. I start with my current reality. I'm on the brink of divorce. I'm 30 to 40 pounds overweight. I'm pretty darn frustrated. I have no time freedom. I feel like my bosses aren't respecting me. I'm tired of renting a house. I want to become a homeowner. I have no energy. I'm fatigued. I feel kind of embarrassed. I feel like all my friends are doing better than me, not progressing. Right now, I'm a medical consultant, not earning the income that I want. What do I actually want? Well, I want to have a loving marriage. I want to have time freedom. I want to keep my son in my house. I want to actually be a homeowner. I want to be happy. I want to have less stress. I want to create my days the way that I want. I never want to have to wear a suit again, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So in order to do these things, what do I need to do? Well, it looks like it's going to need to come down to me kind of earning some more money. How much do I need to earn? About $4,000 per month. What does that mean? That means I need to become a fully integrated business coach. What do I need to do every single day in order to do that? I need to become a master at my story, knowing my 1 to 2 minute story. When am I going to finish that? I'm going to finish that by next week. I'm actually going to start working off of my contact list every day, like my mentors told me to do when I was a brand new coach, and I still haven't listened to them for some reason. I'm actually going to bump up the number of people I'm going to talk to. I'm going to add 10 new friends a day. I'm going to start conversations with 10 new people. I'm going to follow up with 10 new people. I'm going to do I plus Q equals A with 10 new people. And I'm going to post 10 posts every single day on social media. Go like a couple posts and comment on people. I'm going to create multiple healthy happy hours. The first one I'm going to do is February 5th. I'm going to lead with my health first, get some of this weight off, and then I'll create another structural tension chart for maintenance and optimizing. I'm going to make sure that I utilize my calendar to block off every training call that I need to be on. This is called living within structure. And I'm going to check in with my mentor every single day to see if I'm on track. And I'm actually going to go and block that off in my calendar so I can make sure to call her at the end of the day. It's called living in structure. But Jamil, what if you got into a big argument with Amanda that day? It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway because I've become a slave to my calendar, and now I'm living in structure. And why am I going to do this? Because my fundamental goal is I want to keep Ezra in my house. This is how I reached all these goals, you guys. It wasn't because I felt like doing it. It's because I know and hyper vigilant and connected to the things that I want to do. That's it. It just comes down to what do I want? You establish a great game plan, you actually do the game plan, and you become really honest with yourself as to where you are right now. Cannot lie about these things. So all I would do, this is all I did, is I just did a structural tension chart. And then our map, by the way, is the best tool that we have to establish this game plan. But then again, it's Monday, January 29th right now. We know that we should have our maps done before the 1st of the next month. And so it just comes down to doing the work, and that's how you actually will reach these goals. So just focusing on, being very, very honest with ourselves and creating tension is where it's at. So I'm going to stop the recording, but I will stay on if anyone has any questions. Thank you guys for tuning in and for watching this playback for all of you guys that are watching.